I'm crashing the biggest LEGO planes I have ever made. Some of them are even made up of thousands of parts. So first, let's see how epic I can make a LEGO plane crash with 10 parts. It seems that I can't add windows or engines without passing over the limit, but I think that this still counts as a plane. Now just the finishing touch of livery, and here is the infamous fictional Airbus A3. And like with every plane in this video, I'm going to crash it. That was surprisingly good. It shows that any crash can be really satisfying if it's good quality. Then I rebuilt it and gave it a huge upgrade. Now I'm going to make a plane with 5 times more parts. I took each transparent piece out of the window part so I would be able to stay under 50 total parts. I'm quite happy with this one. It turned out to be a pretty neat and cool design. What's crazy is that this is just the beginning. Later in the video I crash planes thousands of times bigger, which you do not want to miss. This is at exactly 100 parts, but I couldn't complete the engines. But it looks amazing anyway. I chose Philippines because I like the airline and a lot of my viewers come from there. That sunset crash was beautiful. Also, I'm getting so close to overtaking this guy, so maybe subscribe if you haven't already and let's overtake Ice quicker. This is my custom airline that I made for my 100k special, which you should watch if you haven't already, and it's not looking great at the moment. I've been borrowing some of its parts from making other planes in the past 2 months. So it's time to renovate it. As I was doing this, I adjusted the interior so it has exactly 500 parts. Trust me, the counting process is not fun. I actually based this livery off my XXL plane that I made a few months back, so I'm going to crash it just like I crashed that day. Hopefully this crash will be just as satisfying because it's very heavy. That crash was so good because unlike the last planes, this one had a huge interior. I got a 60367. A great way to make it break apart better is by taking off all support parts and the black pins from the bottom. Now time to rebuild the other one I got in October. It's difficult finding the rest of the parts because I've used them for so many other planes. I've got 2 of these buses. I filled the interior as much as I could and calculated that each plane has just about 500 parts, so if they collide then it'll be a 1,000 piece crash. In the past I've made many planes that kind of resemble the Airbus A340, and I think it's about time that I make the ultimate accurate and realistic A340. I aimed to make this a 1,500 piece plane, but I realised I need to add way more parts, so I tore open the roof and filled it with small parts to reach a perfect total of 1,500 parts. Also, I just want to mention that there will be another fan-made crash video soon. Join my server if you want to participate, or just join if you want to chat. I really need more members. Entries aren't open yet, but I'll make a detailed video about it soon because it's not a competition but a very different concept. What if I made the McDonnell Douglas MD-12 concept out of 2,000 parts? I've tried making this design 10 studs wide so it'll have a huge seating capacity. I tried something new at the front and the back of the plane. I expanded the wing, added large landing gear and put 4 of these huge engines. Beneath the cabin I built a cargo hold that I will fill with parts. This thing looks ridiculous. I love how this beast turned out. It will definitely have an incredibly explosive crash. We've gone from single-story planes to 2 stories, and now to 3 stories? I made the interior as detailed as I could so the crash would be really explosive. This thing looks, once again, absolutely ridiculous. It's definitely longer than any other plane I've made before. That was spectacular. You might be wondering how I can even make a plane crash that will top this. Well, with 5,000 parts I definitely can. This is Stratolauncher, a crazy looking aircraft used for transporting various spacecraft. Now imagine this, but it's a passenger plane. And imagine that with 2 decks in each fuselage. Yeah, I'm gonna make that. Wow, this thing is not perfect in any way. It looks like a combination of many random planes. I think it's actually incredible looking, and I can't wait to watch it get blown to pieces. So I took this heavy monstrosity to an innocent little car park, which couldn't ever predict the carnage that's about to unfold. Now the final crash in the video. It's not the one from the thumbnail, but it's one with 2 times more parts. 10,000 parts. To make sure I wouldn't run out, I ordered this nice cargo set, which will also be useful in future videos. My main plan for this Titan is to make it extremely wide and entirely fill it with cargo. The front and the back are not easy to make. This thing is beyond insane. I'm surprised they even had a total of 10,000 parts, and here we are. A nice freighter added to Subsnil Airlines fleet. I found this cool drop to destroy the plane from, so here we go. Wow, this will be the biggest cleanup ever, and you're the best for watching to the end. Thanks. I'm crashing the biggest Lego planes that have ever been destroyed, so I booked out this massive pool to show you how insanely satisfying crashes are with 10,000 parts. But first, let's see how breathtaking I can make a crash with just 10 parts. This sloppy design might seem identical to the one from the last video, but no, this is actually a completely different plane. Introducing the Boeing 7, the biggest competitor of the Airbus A3. Uh-oh, a technical error, unsurprising. How satisfying can I make a crash with just 10 parts? That's an epic splash, but compared to the crashes later in this video, this is practically nothing. Some parts even sank to the bottom. Of course, this is just the beginning. The cleanups after this one will all take forever since the planes will be up to thousands of times bigger. Our next build is pretty much made of 10 Boeing 7s, 100 parts. This plane is one of the most advanced and efficient planes in the very near future of aviation. From black paper, I made the very cool looking mask that many Airbus planes have. This is not the A320. It's also not the A321 or the A321neo. This is the Airbus A321 XLR, the newest Airbus plane which will soon be launched with Iberia Airlines. It is very similar to what the Boeing 797 would look like if that ever stops getting delayed.
Sink rate. Don't sink. Too low. Terrain. Too low. Terrain. Pull up.
Wow, how survivable do you think this crash is? Tell me in the comments. I challenge you to guess what our next plane is because it should be easy to realise. There's a sleek wing design I crafted because yes, I'm going ultra detailed with this one because this build needs to be 500 parts, so 5 XLRs. I love this custom nose design so much. Now that we're less limited with parts, I can finally load in a full interior which should hopefully make the crash more destructive. Time to reveal the livery. Oh, Ryanair. Well, this one will be fun, won't it? Okay, I might have forgotten about how I need to spend hours cutting window holes in the paper. Ugh, not fun. The build is complete. This is the Boeing 737 MAX 200, a popular Ryanair plane, but this one, of course, is doomed. On the 25th of November 2025, Ryanair Flight 9677 departed Dublin Airport with 190 occupants. It flew over Ireland as usual. But as it approached the coast, the 737 MAX encountered an unexpected catastrophic structural failure. The sudden explosive decompression seriously damaged the plane's advanced computer technology, and the MCAS was fed incorrect information, making it falsely understand that the plane was pitching up at a dangerously high angle of attack. Beyond the control of the crew, the MCAS attempted to correct this, sending the plane into a lethal, unrecoverable dive towards the Irish Sea.
Terrain. Pull up.
Oh, that didn't really break up as much as I hoped. Well, of course that means I'm now going to throw it in as hard as possible. Now that is a decent breakup. Here's a bunch of grey parts for this next plane, which will be a type of plane I've never even considered making before. A bomber. One of the most famous bombers, the Boeing B-52 Stratolauncher. These planes are crazy because they're over 70 years old and have not 4, not 6, but 8 engines. The wings on this plane are swept back a lot. And there's the 4 pairs of engines. Do you think they're accurate? Their weight bends down the wings a bit, which is actually kind of what they're really like. I added the unique landing gear, and now it's time for the US Air Force markings. I did some adding and worked out that the plane isn't quite at my desired total, so I added tons of these things to bring up the total to a perfect 1,000 parts. The colossal B-52 takes off on a mission over enemy land. Oh, a missile! The B-52 loses control. That was really good. Well, wait till you see the next crash. We're gonna double this. It's time for 2,000 parts, so 4 737 MAX Ryanairs. I've got a good plan for this one. You remember my iconic classic 747 design? You know, the one using default Lego plane parts that has a tutorial with well over 1 million views? I'm going to absolutely remaster that. I'm going to make a completely custom nose for the 747. And there's so many airlines to choose from. This one looks perfect. To get to this crazy parts goal, it will rely a lot on how much I pack the interior, so I might have to do something a bit unholy and just load in all my passengers like this. But this won't be any ordinary plane in my fleet. This one's getting a very special livery. We recently surpassed 150k, so I'm proud to reveal the flight to 200,000 subscribers. If everyone watching this right now were to simply subscribe, then I would reach this crazy goal almost instantly. But if you won't subscribe, then I guess our flight to 200k is gonna crash like this. That was a mesmerizing dive. But look, it barely broke apart. This certainly means we're doing an attempt to. Here we go. This reminds me of a certain aftermath. I can imagine it might have been hard to see the 747 go. But after all, it was built to be destroyed like everything else on this channel, and that is the entire reason why I build everything in the first place. However, this next build is going to be pretty difficult to see getting obliterated. I redesigned the 747 nose from the last version just to make the shape a bit more realistic. But we're not building another 747-8. You've probably figured out that this will be one of the largest cargo carriers ever made. Yes, the Dreamlifter. I made this bulge here and I built the same wings from the last 747. The Dreamlifter opens up at the back, so here's what I made. I love how the shape here turned out. Now I need to fully load it up with a certain amount of cargo, a delivery of hundreds of Lego parts. This monster is made up of 3,000 parts, so in Boeing 7s that would be equivalent to 300 Boeing 7s. For it to break up as much as possible, I'll drop it on the edge of the pool right here. But first I'll just show some of the cameras I've been using. This is the underwater camera, and this one is the 1000 FPS camera that does 20 times ultra slow motion, which we will try out soon. Time to end the Dreamlifter. That was a total destruction, but imagine building the Dreamlifter without building the Beluga. I started by making this curved base part that goes to the cockpit. The last build was 3,000 parts, but now we're jumping to 5,000 parts. I added the single engines and the nice A330 winglets, then designed the fuselage bulge shape that the Beluga has. This right here is the cargo door that will open and give access to the inside right from above the cockpit. I then added the big custom tail and these cool parts on the ends of the horizontal stabilizers. This part was a bit more tricky since the ordinary Lego roof isn't wide enough, so I used 70 of these small parts to make a nice wide round roof. This looks so ridiculous. I opened up the cargo door and filled the Beluga with all sorts of aircraft parts that Airbus will transport around their factories throughout Europe. So we've built two of the largest cargo planes ever made, but how could I end it here without building the first largest cargo plane of all time? It's time for the final crash in the video. We're of course doubling from the Beluga, so not 100, not 500, but 1000 Boeing 7s, aka 10,000 parts. The last video's 10k plane was this fictional thing, so now I'm going as realistic as possible to breathe some life back into the fallen icon of Ukraine, the largest aircraft of all time. No, not the A390, the Antonov AN-225. Oh, I think I should make it one plate longer. This nose part is going to open up like this. I need every single white brick possible, so before we left home I painfully demolished my airport terminal, but please do not worry, I will rebuild it entirely and this will all be so worth it. If you're interested in knowing how I spawned in a massive pool for this video, well, I booked out a property in the Peak District near Sheffield in England just to make this video for you, so a like, sub and comment would be the best way to appreciate my effort and investment. I built up the monstrous body strong and tall and constructed the vast heavy wings. This thing is straight up just big. Very big. I added the side livery, tail livery, registration, nose livery, and opened up the nose to load in this piece of aircraft as well as a lot more plane parts. At the start of this video, the counting process was manageable, but trust me, it's just not at all fun anymore. And here we are. This is just my silly interpretation of the AN-225. It's nothing professional, because that's just not my style and nothing I'm really capable of yet. If we really want to crash this thing, we need to first off actually pick it up, and I cannot do that. We carried it on this plank of wood and put it on this table here. My main plan is just to slide it off the wood and dive it straight into the pool. Goodbye 225 Maria. I hope after this you'll get rebuilt, not in Lego form, but in real life. Here we go. This has been a wild and exhausting journey, but it's all worth it because you watched to the end. Thanks.